Alright, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Fatheads Brewery, and they're headquartered in Middleburg Heights, Ohio, and this is their Benjamin Danklin. So this is an IPA that comes in at 7.4% alcohol by volume, 76 IBUs at the time of review. This can is approximately 5 weeks old. I want to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Curtis, for this beer. So huge thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Curtis sent my way, and he sent me 4 beers in total, including this one. What's funny is I had already picked this one up as a shelfie beer for the month of June 2025. Curtis had no idea, so I do have an extra. And this can is the one I picked up because it was kept cold the entire time, and the one that Curtis sent my way, you know, it traveled and whatnot. But I'm going to enjoy that as an extra because I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy this one quite a bit. They don't specify it anywhere, certainly not in the label, but this is more of a West Coast style IPA, as most of Fatheads beers are. Now, the theme of this beer is fantastic. It's all centered around Independence Day. If you look at the label, you know, you got, you know, American flag and all kinds of stuff going on, and you know the color scheme and everything. So because this is an Independence Day here in the U.S., if I didn't specify, because this is a Independence Day themed beer, the ABV is 7.4%. So July 4th, of course, 7.4. And the IBUs are 76, which really doesn't mean a whole lot by itself, but if you combine it with the original gravity, which is 17, you get 1776. July 4th, 1776 is when the Declaration of Independence here in the U.S. was adopted. I don't think it was actually signed until like a month later, but one of the founding fathers and one of the signees, Benjamin Franklin, aka Benjamin Danklin. So I think this is a fantastic theme to a beer. I should have reviewed it on July 4th, but this comes out much earlier. I want to drink it relatively fresh, 5 weeks old. We should be good to go. So I'm going to crack it open, pour it in the glass, see what we got going on. This one is brewed with Chinook, Citra and Simcoe, so it's definitely some older school hops. And we are going to give it a nice pour here and see what it's all about. So, and by nice pour, I mean spill some of it on. Oh, I always wash my can. Harry probably saw that and was like, what? Yeah, always wash the can. Anyway, how does this look? Well, it looks like a beautiful, I would say that looks like a beautiful, was that a little bit Dirty Class Mafia on that side? No, it's not. I thought it was. I was going to be like, no, come on. But that looks like a beautiful West Coast IPA. It has that golden orange color. You can see my hand through it, so it has good clarity. About 2.5 fingers of an off-white, creamy looking head. Looks really nice. Pour a little bit more in here to try to get it to the top if I can. Something like that. Put this over here. Now I did see a check-in from Curtis, like either was it today or yesterday or something, and he really enjoyed this one. He was like, hey, it's Fatheads. They don't miss, and they don't. For the most part, when it comes to these style beers, they don't. So I think this looks beautiful as far as like a West Coast IPA goes. Let's get a nose. Yeah, I mean, it has that classic, you know, zesty citrus, so like orange and white grapefruit, but then a nice stone fruit kick, like a little bit of mango and apricot, maybe a touch of peach, and then a resinous pine, slightly dank kind of nose. Now they call this one Benjamin Danklin. It's not as dank as I anticipated, but it has a very slight like crackery, more so than bready malt. I wonder if this is like more of like a new school take. It doesn't have like to me, a lot of old school West Coast IPAs are more in that like heavier kind of malt bill where you get caramel and like a bread and whatnot. This one has more of that lighter kind of feel to it. Dude, it smells like a lot of citrus, some stone fruit, resinous pine, crackery malt. It smells wonderful. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody, and thanks again, Curtis. Yep. Oh man, this is bitter. Oh, hello. I mean, the nose carried over to the taste. The body of this is nice. It's like, it's a Scotch over medium. Yeah, I'd say higher side of medium actually. It has a little bit more viscosity than I'm accustomed to for 7.4% clear IPA. The mouthfeel, super crisp, very clean. It's not super refreshing because there is a big dryness and bitterness, but it is a joy to drink. Has a nice mild, not I was gonna say mild, nice moderate to a touch over moderate carbonation, effervescent, prickly on the tongue, dancing along the tongue, but it smooths out on the second half of the palate. This is very dry and bitter. So if you're somebody who likes old school West Coast IPAs and you love the dryness and bitterness like I'm starting to love them, you're gonna really dig this. Forefront, touch of that crackery malt. Hits me right at the tip of the tongue, dives underneath the palate. Omnipresent, but like always the tertiary or maybe even lower down on the totem pole as far as the characteristics along the palate. I first noticed it at the front. Pops up a little bit on the back, but very, very minute. But it's definitely a crackery malt kind of base. Maybe a touch of breadiness, but no caramel. Riding along top of it is a ton of zesty, pithy, bittering citrus, like a bittering kind of orange pith, ruby red grapefruit for sure. Even like a slight tartness you would get like with a white grapefruit. Middle of the palate, that's where the lone, I guess, sweeter quality to this one comes in, and it comes in as more of like an over-ripened mango, apricot, peach in the stone fruit realm, maybe a skosh and a touch of pineapple, but for the most part, it's stone fruit heavy. And then on the finish, resinous pine through and through. There is a nice firm dankness as well, a little bit of a floral quality. Finishes bone dry with a moderate to full bitterness. Like right in the middle of that. It doesn't approach like full on like just the bitterness where it's like crushing your palate. But I do think as I continue to drink this one, by the end of it, I'm gonna be like, all right, gotta reset my palate because it is that intense from the dryness and the bitterness. Super flavorful, 5 weeks old, tastes like it's 5 days old, just has a vibrancy and freshness to it that you can tell is very fresh. 7.4%, no fucking way. I'm not even getting a warming in the chest. There's nothing on the palate. Only reason I know this is a slightly bigger IPA like West Coast is because of the body and the intensity of flavors. You're not getting these types of flavors and body from something that's say like 5.5%, 6%. It doesn't happen often. So I would guess probably 7.5%. But I mean, it's Fatheads. At this point, Fatheads is kind of, to me anyway, in my own puny brain, making a resurgence as far as like popularity goes. Why? I was telling Curtis about this, but back in like the early to mid more in like the mid 2010s, say like 2013 to like 2017, there was friends here. If I went down to the Cleveland area or Ohio as a whole, if they knew I was going, they'd ask me to bring back, like a case, if not, at the very least like 6 packs, but a case of like Headhunter. If Hop Juju was out, they'd ask for it. When Sunshine Daydream came out, everyone was all about it. And now here in the Buffalo, New York area, these, my friends, shelf turds. That's an endearing statement here on the channel, though. That's a term that I use endearingly. And like shelf turds are awesome beers that kind of just sit on the shelves, which is crazy. Zombie Dust from Three Floyds is another one that I never thought we'd get distro here in Buffalo, and they just shit on. They don't shit anywhere. I don't think they shit anywhere. They shouldn't shit anywhere. They sit on grocery store shelves. Like, it's insane to me. So I can pick this one up at like Wegmans, and it's insane to me that I can, but in the best way possible. I love it. And if you haven't had a Fatheads beer in a while and you used to love like Headhunter, Hop Juju, this is another one to try out. Might be a little bit too dry and bitter for some, but I'm right here for it. So, yeah, anyway, I would say this leans very dry and bitter. There's not a lot of sweetness here. It's definitely unbalanced, like 70-30 dryness and bitterness to sweetness, so keep that in mind. But I'm going to give this a low 4.5. This is 4.4 all day long. This is fucking fantastic. It's a great beer. Like, there's not much more to say about it. The theme, the beer itself, everything about it, fantastic. Price point availability here in the Buffalo, New York area, I saw this from anywhere from $12.99 to $13.99 a 6-pack. If you're in Ohio, it might be $1 or $2 cheaper. If you're not in either of these areas, like say you're further in the Northeast and you get their stuff from Midwest, might be $15, $16. At the end of the day, though, I'm thinking like $2 to $2.50 a can all day, every day. Sans, as I like to say. And then, like I said, availability with Fatheads, check out their website. I don't know if they have a beer finder. I think they do. But if you're in the northeastern part, into the Midwest, you should see Fatheads stuff, especially if you're in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. You should definitely see their stuff. I think they get into Michigan as well. But yeah, they're just one of those not super old school breweries, but definitely old school breweries that does West Coast hop forward beers correct. And that's hard to find outside of the Pacific coast, especially California, but even like Pacific Northwest. It's hard to find beers of this quality out here that are just, on the shelf turds, as I said. So if you've had this one before, because I know they've released this before, and by the way, this is a spring/summer seasonal from them, so you should see this one on the shelves as we speak. But if you've had this one before, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again to Curtis for this one. I will 100% enjoy that second can off camera. I can't wait. I might have to wait like a week or two to drink it just because of how intense this is, and I don't know if I want to take down another can that quickly. Who knows? But thanks to Curtis. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers.